The life force of your bond. A power like life itself. Unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
Hey guys, welcome back to Dyad in the Force episode 105, our 2-year Dyad-iversary. Apologies, we spent most of our special occasion budget on our 100th episode, so we just chilling with you guys like normal, but we're still celebrating. It's been 2 years of Dyad.
We've only just begun.
As AJ says in the chat, Alexa, play We've Only Just Begun. Congratulations on 2 years. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. Yeah, I mean, I owe Dyad in the Force largely to Choco, because, you know, I met Choco on episode 3 of High Ground, and then it kind of took off from there. As soon as we started talking to each other and finishing each other's sentences and thoughts and all that good stuff, the Dyad was born. Imagine Element accidentally setting off someone's echo. Did I do that at one point? How's it going, Choco?
It's going pretty good. It is going pretty good. I don't know if you're setting anyone's echo, but I have, and I believe you have as well, set off people's Google.
Oh.
So yeah, if your sound is up loud. Actually, what's funny is there was a Super Bowl commercial that did that intentionally. Where, yeah, which is funny.
Okay. I use a Google Home, so I didn't recognize the echo part of that sentence. Harris says, congrats on 2 years. Sasha DeLang says congrats. Also, welcome to the show, Sasha DeLang. I just asked you about the Ahsoka leaks on TikTok. Curious to hear your thoughts on them. Yeah, we'll touch on them a little bit. This show is off the rails.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole ton of news or like actual news from Star Wars, so we're mostly gonna be hanging out and answering your guys' questions. And feel free to call in once we get to that portion of the show.
Yeah, the link is pinned in the chat if you guys ever want to call in and hang out with us and talk about something that's important to you. Click the link in the chat, join in. The camera isn't required, but it is enabled. But you can always call in and voice and ask your question and just talk to us about whatever you want to talk about. What's up, Dex and Download and Conspiracy Cantina and Young? Happy 2 years. Thank you guys so much. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going. And you're never going to stop.
Can't stop. Won't stop.
Never going to give you up. Did I just like vocally like Rickroll everybody? Let's see here. Okay. So cheers to 2 years. Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah, Hammer the Man in the chat. I joined your stream the other day, but I don't know anything about baseball, so.
I mean, I
Did
haven't.
we lose the game? We did now. Thanks.
I haven't followed football since Eddie George and McNair were like the dream team on the Titans. I haven't followed basketball since Iverson was on the Sixers. I didn't even really follow him on the Nuggets like religiously. But sports is an old thing for me. I don't know.
I mean, I still love sports. The thing is, ever since I've been out, kind of on my own, I just don't pay for cable, and they don't make it easy to watch stuff, you know. And yeah, I had my own, what's it called now? XBMC. What's it called now? What did they change it to? Anyways, I had sports stuff on that, and I would watch stuff, but like it got cumbersome.
Yeah, I think sports is the last holdout of like cable, right? I know they have like ESPN Plus and like NBA TV But I don't know. I guess only people that are like obsessed with sports it gets that stuff.
Looks like Sasha's got to go. I mean, I guess we can lead off with our Ahsoka thoughts. Ahsoka league thoughts.
Sure. If you want to stick around, Sasha, for the next 5 minutes, we'll address it really quickly here. So, let me see if I can actually bring up the source really quickly. If I can go back to this link.
Yeah, one of the big things when it comes to that leak is I kept seeing people talking about it, right? No one was really reading the source itself, and so I've been seeing a lot of weird thoughts. So, like we always do, we go straight to the source.
And this is the source. No, I'm not. We've already reacted to this, but we're going to address it again here live. I'm not saying that credibility has to come with, like, you know, a $50,000 graphic designer budget, but it doesn't look reputable to me.
Yeah, I mean, I have designed a website just like this in Notepad in 2003.
So here we go.
Okay.
This is what it says. During the production of Star Wars, there's a code for a character I'm reluctant to share at the moment, but through this code, I was able to figure out and confirm Ahsoka Tano had different code names. During the production of Star Wars Ahsoka, I don't know where they're getting the code names, and I don't know to the extent their involvement with the project or the production. But it seems like, and I don't want to really like read this entire article again, but it seems like a lot of it is conjecture. They go on to say, my Darth Vader sources. So I have no idea what that means either. I think Choco said something about maybe they have like a stuntman Darth Vader on the inside, and that's their Darth Vader source. But
one of the big things is some of what is stated here. It, like it says, it feels like conjecture by the artist or by this person, and this person doesn't seem as clued into Star Wars lore. So I think maybe if someone like Alex from Star Wars Explained had the same insider information, they would probably come up to very different conclusions.
Yeah,
adding in their lore knowledge.
So I mean, right off the bat, if I can just say, a lot of what is said in this article when it comes to like the world between worlds, present day Ahsoka will learn, you know, different paths that she could have taken. If she came back to the Order, she would be fighting on Mustafar, and she'll learn about all of her different outcomes that different decisions would have been, that would have played out, is all lore inaccurate, at least according to our existing understanding of the lore.
And according to direct interviews from Dave Filoni on both Rebels Recon, the show that they would do after episodes of Rebels, as well as a few interviews that he did, particularly one with Collider, where he talks about how the world between worlds is not time travel, it's outside the stream, and stuff like that.
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, there's no alternate timelines. The world between worlds is all of time at the same time, and it's kind of like absolute. It's like an absolute point in time. So, as we usually say, Ezra saving Ahsoka had always happened. That wasn't something that was just up in the air, and Ezra had to make that decision right off the bat. Or like right then and there. He had always saved Ahsoka, and that's what it took for him to save Ahsoka. It's kind of like with Force ghosts and all sights, they see things that will happen, that are going to happen, and they can't interfere. They can't change the course. It's going to happen. And it says in this article itself at the very end, as Choco learned me, que sera, what will happen, will happen. But it seems like a lot of the lore preceding that statement is inaccurate.
But one of the interesting things I saw, at least, is like I've seen people be like, oh, well, this is them retconning the sequels and stuff. That's what they're going to use it for. But even in this source, it says that if this source is true, she's going to find out that regardless of what she did, the outcome would have been the same. So that's obviously not going to happen. I still disagree with that assertion from the article, but we'll have to see. But what I think would be really cool, is if this stuff is episode 1 or episode 0, like a prologue. Like, think about it this way. Not everyone has seen the Clone Wars. Not everyone has seen Rebels. Not everyone knows Ahsoka. So what if the very beginning we get her walking through the world between worlds and seeing points of her history in order to catch up new people who are just jumping onto this live action show for the first time on this character's journey, and then we start moving forward.
Yeah. Harris says it's giving me flashbacks to Kenobi leaks. They're partially right, but not the full truth. Again, I've said this point to death, but I'll repeat it. A broken clock can be right twice. That's absolutely correct. I can even say, I can release an article tomorrow saying exclusive leaks from the Ahsoka production. We are going to see Ahsoka and her life after the events of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Based on my Darth Vader sources. And I can be right.
Who's your Darth Vader? It's a guy on Hollywood Boulevard dressed as Darth Vader.
I met a guy over at Pink's Hot Dogs. He's sometimes in production.
No, I also think, like Harris said, it's with Kenobi. The same person as the one that leaked the story about how Reva was going to die, and then of course Reva doesn't die, and then they're like, well, they went back and reshot it after the fact, and you're like, or you were wrong. I don't know, that both of those are possible, as well as we already know that they use dummy scripts. They do things so that people don't know the crux of these stories intentionally. Now the assertion that the world between worlds is going to be there is pretty obvious. Like the O in Ahsoka is one of the portals. So I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be there. Hopefully we get to explore it more, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I do wanna address what Daxon Download says. I like that it can't change, but why? And it's really simple. It's because the cosmic force and what will happen is entirely based on everyone's choices. So you may try to change the course of time as it's flowing, but everyone's micro and macro choices that lead to a certain point in time can't be quantified by the force. So how do we change something? If you're a force ghost and you see someone's about to die, how do you know that what you do to interfere with that and change that course does not ultimately lead to that result? So it's the time paradox, really, like one of the paradoxes, but also you can't really, it's all about choice. It comes down to the very second that person makes that choice, so you can't foresee that either. You know, Choco says it's like the call to action, but you have to, by the force and hearing the will of the force, it's up to that person to answer that call, and whether they succeed or not is another up in the air thing, you know. Thanks for giving your thoughts on this. The article doesn't look that trustworthy to me as well. It would be cool to see different points in her life to catch up for people that don't know Ahsoka. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other big thing too is I really need the Ahsoka show to be about Ahsoka. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The article also makes it feel like the Ahsoka show is about Anakin. And I think that does a huge disservice to the character. But thank you for joining us, Sasha. Have a great night.
Absolutely. May the Force be with you. Jackson Dello says, I know why it can't change. I mean, if it can't, why even mess with the world between worlds? Well, it's, it's just like hyperspace. It's dimensions, right? People have access to them. That doesn't mean they need to be messed with,
I hope we get to the connection between the world between worlds and hyperspace.
I thought we did. I mean, subtly inferred in High Republic. There was, I think there was a sentence in the more recent books that was like, it's kind of like hyperspace is the Force, and I'm just like, bro, Choco just like, boom.
I've been saying that for years. Yep. No, there was movement in the boneyard when I.
But seriously, Daxon, just because you can go somewhere doesn't mean you should do anything to it, right? It's just like the Prime Directive in Star Wars. Like, why go to this planet if why even like go to this planet if you can't like mess with it? It's like, well, you don't have to mess with it. you can see the culture, you can see the people and be like, okay, this planet, catalog it and move on,
I mean, I want more Force lore, so I would love to see it. Thank you for stopping by, Nicole. Always nice to see you.
Prime Directives from Star Trek. Yeah, I know. I'm mixing my fandoms knowingly and willingly. It's the same thing, though. I mean, if you're in hyperspace, if you achieve hyperspace and you go into that dimension, all that's there really is just mass shadows of celestial bodies in real space. But what are you doing there? I mean, you could utilize the properties of hyperspace to travel, but essentially your entire purpose of going into hyperspace isn't necessarily to mess with it. So if you access the world between worlds and you're Force sensitive and you can access it, it's not to mess with anything really. Like the Loth Wolves can go to and from the world between worlds freely, and that's just their nature. Yeah. So were the Nile using the dark side of of hyperspace? I don't think so. See what Mari San Tekka did was just view all paths within the hyperspace from a different angle than prospecting.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get to spend more time learning that. But who knows? Maybe it could be something like a dark side version, but it doesn't sound like that should exist, because I believe the dark side really requires intent. But I don't know.
Let's see. Drew said, I gotta disagree with you guys here. Jason did get the Reva story ending wrong, but 95% of everything Jason said was spot on. Some episodes were beat for beat what he said. I'm confident this is true. Is this the author of the Ahsoka article?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Again, there are a lot of story beats you can get right. It doesn't mean that their leaks were true. You know what I'm saying, Drew? I think a lot of us got a lot of the story beats right when we were watching the show and speculating further into the next episode. The Force is just a phone booth with different drivers every season. Perhaps. Perhaps. Chopper is going to be in Ahsoka. He was brought out during the Mando Plus panel. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, we saw they didn't release the teaser in to the public, but we saw, Hera from the back. We saw Sabine on the mural at the end of Rebels. So we're going to see a lot of live action from Rebels, which I'm excited for. But again, I think Choco and I are both on the side of keeping it about Ahsoka for sure. Sith Brain heard she moved hyperspace to her will, like the dark side. So it was read to make show the Force and all the lightning headcanon. We don't understand too much of how Mari did what she did, so it could be possible.
Yeah, also, I mean, Mari didn't have that ability from birth, right? Something happened, and then it started. I mean, I can't wait till we.
I mean, we're in like phase 2 has been. I mean, we just met a prospector called Sunshine, so. We might get more information on that front throughout this phase. I mean, not to pat myself on my back, but Luke and I literally guessed most of the plot of Kenobi before the show even came out. Again, leakers aren't credible. It's a case of wait and see. I mean, if the premise of the show is Obi-Wan Kenobi and you see the trailer of Tatooine and you're like, okay, there's only so much that could happen. You know, a lot of people got right that he needed to leave the planet. He was going to meet Leia. And it was going to be about that, you know, and that wasn't based on leaks. That was just people's feelings on, like, you know, if he had to leave Tatooine, what would make him leave Tatooine? And that would be Leia. Let's see. Oh, there's another article I want to address, which is it's a fun article finally. Let's see here if I could bring this up again. This one right here. The Last Jedi has aged far better than Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. Now, I don't want to cover this article as a means of dragging Force Awakens or The Rise of Skywalker, because there are people who absolutely love those movies. But I did want to highlight this article because it is one of the most divisive movies in Star Wars fandom, and it's interesting to see these articles come out now. And there's also another article I read from CBR that says that is new theory, the reason Luke abandoned the Force. And I'm just like, we've been saying this for the last how many years since The Last Jedi came out. And finally, there is, you know, websites that are writing articles, and this is, granted, you know, a breath of fresh air from Screen Rant.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah,
a surprise to be sure.
Let's just kind of like skim right through this. It's no surprise The Last Jedi's backlash happened and the movie failed to please everyone. RJ undoubtedly took some bold swings, and that's always going to be a risk. That's only highlighted more with the benefit of time and full view of the sequel trilogy and some distance from it, because TFA and Tross play things safer and aim to please fans more clearly. With that, though, it means The Last Jedi does just get better with age. And just to kind of summarize the article, you know, and this is something that Choco kind of like hits at a lot when he talks about this stuff. It's all about nostalgia bait, right? There were a lot of moments in TFA that were kind of trying to remake the magic of A New Hope, and then Tross was, you know, very much a kind of,
it felt reactionary.
Yeah,
to me.
But there was a lot of nostalgia going on in both of those movies. Whereas The Last Jedi, and I would argue, The Last Jedi was the movie in the sequel trilogy that challenged things, that had the audacity to do something new.
And it's cool because, you know, its 5-year anniversary was, what, 2 days ago now? And again, it's always been my favorite. But one of the things I find interesting is how it challenged things. It challenged assumptions is what it feels like, you know. But when you stand back and look at it, I just love how it fits together. Like, if you understand that the Jedi of the prequel era failed because of their involvement in the war, right? That's not a Jedi's place. That's not what they should be doing. That's not where they should be. What would that mean for Luke's Jedi school going forward? You know, do you want... I wanted him to walk out and just decimate, you know, the First Order's armies. You know, is that them getting involved in war again? How would that affect things? You know, to me, it was written where he did the most Jedi thing possible in all situations. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it.
DePaul and AJ tried to click the ad closed. Yeah, my apologies. It's just part of the browser. Let's read really quickly. So in contrast, The Last Jedi's divisive choices only get better with age. There's a decent portion of audiences who will dislike the movie no matter what, and there's nothing to say everyone should like it or agree at all, but the decisions Johnson makes are rooted far more in character, theme, and breaking down Star Wars itself. And it's this sentence here that I've always kind of touted. Whenever I talk about Last Jedi, someone asks me, you know, what are your top 5 Star Wars? And I say The Last Jedi in it. And they're like, how can you say that? And I'm just like, man, it's such a clinic in character work and, you know, analyzing the themes of Star Wars and just kind of flipping it all on its back and making you take a good, long, hard look at it. And it's not like spectacle for spectacle's sake, and it's not fan service. It just makes you really appreciate the story. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. It doesn't retcon The Force Awakens, but just goes in unexpected directions. Then it's less impacted by the flaws of the sequel trilogy as a whole. I mean, yeah.
One of the big ones that I kept seeing is like, it retcons them, and they didn't put the Knights of Ren in there, and like I was always like, why did you think the Knights of Ren were going to be in this movie to begin with? I don't know. There's just certain things or assumptions, and maybe it was because of the climate of YouTube content creators, and their leaks and information. Because I'm very much seeing that because I started making some Overwatch content. And it's interesting to see how the top content creators can change everyone's view, whether or not what is being said is reality or even applies to everyone, you know?
Yeah. Dexon says, at first sight, I was livid about Luke, especially with all the Mark Hamill hates it too crap I was reading at the time. Now with all the books and comics, I know the truth. Well, I mean, it's more than the comics and the books. It's Mark Hamill himself. I mean, a lot of those articles and a lot of those videos back then cut right before he said, but when I saw the movie, I was wrong. So, you know, a lot of people. So this is the technique of grifters. Is that when Mark Hamill said, I wholly disagree with Rian Johnson on the direction of Luke Skywalker, that is Mark Hamill's whole truth, right? That's his dead ass truth. When he said, but I was wrong when I saw the whole movie, Disney's paying him to say that, right? You can't have your cake and eat it with this type of things. It's the same clip. Mark is saying the same thing. It's not like Disney paid him to say his grievances, but ultimately disagree with it. It's like that would be the weirdest move from any business is like, hey, listen, we're gonna give you like $50,000. I need you to criticize us, but then also be like, nah. if they paid Mark Hamill to speak at all, and we have experience largely due to just covering books, they don't ask us to say anything. They want our genuine critiques of the books. But
That's
for
fine.
Mark,
I actually see that with content creators all the time, of people being like, oh, they're being told to say this, or like, oh, this is this thing and I totally like it. I've been reached out to by companies. I've had sent things. I've never ever been told to say anything was good or bad. I did at one point have DX Saber sent me a lightsaber, and it was just hot garbage. And the guy was like, well, are you going to talk about it? And I was like, this is hot garbage. I will tell everyone it's hot garbage. Do you want me to tell everyone that it's hot garbage? And he's like, no.
oh man. It's that simple, guys, though. Like companies will reach out to you to do promotion. That's true. They'll send you early copies of things, and they'll ask you to talk about it and cover it. But you know, they've never asked either of us to be positive about something or to steer away from critique. And
now, that being said, just to be clear, there is going to be bias involved, right? They are going to pick people who are genuinely positive, or you know, like they're not, Star Wars isn't going to send stuff to just random people. They're going to send it to people who like Star Wars, right?
They did send Queen's Hope to that one dude who was like, there's neo-pronouns in this book.
Yeah. And at the same time, there is something to be said about, I know some people got like trips to the Galactic Star Cruiser for free, and them not having spent money could potentially affect
that's true.
how they feel about it. So like, obviously there is going to be bias, but in the end, these are these people's views. So I don't know.
Well, there is bias in the fact that they are receiving something in exchange, right, for this service. But the bottom line is, it does not come with those strings, you know?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, hey, we invite you to the Galactic Star Cruiser, all expenses paid, only if you speak positively about the experience and do not critique it. Like, it doesn't happen like that. Of course, the bias comes when you're like, oh, I get a free trip, I'm gonna be super positive about this experience just because. But they're never going to like have those strings attached to those services. But back to like the point with Luke or Mark Hamill, like it really makes no sense that they would pay him to criticize them and also to backtrack at the same time. So what these people do on the articles and the YouTube videos is quite, you know, sinister. Is that when he says something that aligns with their rhetoric, that's his whole truth. And when he says at the Last Jedi premiere, it's my favorite since Empire Strikes Back, Disney is paying him to say that. So it's like, how can you tell? How can you tell now? What's his whole truth, and what is he saying after being paid? It's simple. He's always telling the truth. He's always speaking his mind. It's Mark Hamill.
He's so outspoken. It's crazy. Yeah.
Let's see here. People took the J.J. Abrams vision sequence too literally in TFA. Like, they were like, oh, we are getting flashbacks of these scenes. Are we talking about the echo for Rey? With like Bespin and...
Yeah, he's talking about when she touched the lightsaber, right? Because there was a few things that we saw, but again, they seemed to be in the past, and they weren't explained.
I'm still upset they got out on Luke's lessons to Rey in TLJ. It would have made the story really rounded, but Master and Apprentice Luke and Rey. It was a great. I mean, it was a great sequence. I didn't really. I would have loved to seen Lesson 3, but you know, what we got of Luke and Rey was what the story needed. To be completely honest with you, I have so many thoughts on the sequels and the hate on both directors. Listen, that's another episode. I do want to also point to this article too, since we're winging it. All right, let's see what this is all about.
Yeah, I had not seen or heard of this one, but I mean, I'll say straight up front that Rian Johnson has directly said that the reason Luke walked away from everything wasn't, in his mind, cowardice. It was an active decision to remove himself because he thought it would be a benefit. Like it wasn't weakness, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what this says.
Jackson says, "I'm so curious about the Prime Jedi. So are we all."
Oh, I need more.
One of the most controversial things lingering in Star Wars discourse is how Luke Skywalker cut himself off from the Force in The Last Jedi. Yet, looking at the sequel trilogy as an outlier rather than part of the whole narrative, some fans miss the complex reason The Last Jedi Master ended up on Ahch-To. Save for the midichlorians of it all, the Force's relationship with someone who has Force talent is a personal and intimate one. Sometimes it could be unconscious, such as how Finn or Leia use it most often. However, for a Jedi, it requires training and practice. The Luke's, does not require it. It gets better with. The Luke Skywalker fans see in the... Also, nobody complained about Finn being able to sense Rey without any training. Anyway.
That's a good point. I've never heard that thought. But I now have a new analogy for using the Force, though. That using the Force is like walking or running. People, the Force sensitive people will be able to do it naturally. They'll learn. Can they sprint? Are they going to be the fastest? Can they run the farthest? No, but training makes a huge difference in that. But you can still do it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, how does an infant or a toddler learn how to walk?
They do it.
Right. You can't actively train a toddler to walk. Like you can argue that they can understand what you're saying at that point, but I don't know the psychology of babies. Luke Skywalker fans see in the Book of Boba Fett is building a Jedi Temple and likely sees himself in a much different place in 25 years, certainly not on a Jedi island waiting to die, with a young woman holding out his father's laser sword, looking at him like he's the best hope for the universe. Because Luke already did that. From his point of view in The Last Jedi, either he failed or aspired too far above what the Force willed for him. Luke didn't just cut himself off from the Force, he felt unworthy of it. He felt the Force no longer needed him or his hokey religion and ancient weapon. It did, of course, just not the way he thought.
Yeah, you got to close the ad.
Lots
I
of
was
ads.
getting ready to click it.
Let's see here. I'll try to get through this. For the moment Darth Vader told Luke he was Anakin Skywalker, Star Wars became a generational tale. It was only by lucky coincidence that the 3 installments of the movies arrived far enough apart for the movies themselves to have generational appeal, and that way The Last Jedi is the most metatextual Star Wars movie, as it serves as a commentary on the fandom itself. Nonetheless, the point The Last Jedi makes about the original trilogy's heroes is about how the previous generation can leave fights unfinished, and the next generation ill-prepared to take up the task. That's true.
I like that point. That's cool.
Leia and Han represent this most clearly, with Leia at least trying to do the right thing, but Luke Skywalker was the man who was supposed to save the universe, and one moment of light aggravated assault against his nephew sent the universe spiraling out of control. No fandom outrage could match the anger and disappointment Luke himself felt for his failing Kylo. Oh, I like that sentence. That's what his final scene in The Last Jedi is all about. Luke uses his last bit of power to execute the perfect Jedi rescue. No one dies, and Luke gets to tell Kylo he's sorry. Yet, to get to that point, he needed Rey to wake him up to the fact that while he thought the Force didn't need him, it just needed him to do something different. Just like real life, and the plans people make about the future. Right, we're getting into the allegories here for real life. Star Wars canon has given several signs in expanded universe stories that Luke's desire to walk away was always present. Most recently, the book Shadow of the Sith introduced in the artifact, an artifact that forcibly cut Luke off from the secret energy field. And ultimately, he cut himself off because he felt unworthy to be the chosen one and because he didn't want to know, or more accurately feel, what was going on in the universe. Let's see.
I always distrust articles when they use that image.
Yeah.
Why do they say so focused on the version that didn't happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. How's it going, Star Force One? We're just covering this article right now, talking about people finally cluing in on The Last Jedi's brilliance. Unfortunately for fan favorite Star Wars characters, conflict is what drives the story. Still, the storytellers gave the original trilogy gang around 25 years of overseeing a galaxy of peace. That's more happily ever after than most post-revolutionary societies get. As fans expected from the moment Yoda told him to pass on what you know, Luke Skywalker set out to build a Jedi temple. Yet the Force didn't want him to recreate the Jedi Order of old. It needed Luke Skywalker to prepare the next generation for the coming battles against a familiar enemy. Even Rian Johnson said during a okay, we're citing sources now. During a 2018 interview that he believes it was primarily the desire to avoid Leia driving Luke's retreat from the Force. The beginning of Luke's failure was not when he nearly lashed out in fear at the dark side corruption of Ben's mind. It was when the revived Emperor Palpatine set out to corrupt the youngest of young Skywalkers. As The Last Jedi shows, his failure to protect the galaxy was compounded by his failure to protect his own family. Again. Yes, yes, yes. Yet in training Rey, who held on to the youthful we can do anything attitude life beat out of Luke, he again came to believe it. First thing he did with the Force was reach out to Leia, probably instantly knowing what she was doing. She inspired both her husband and brother to come back to the fight they gave up, knowing they wouldn't see the end. That's up to the next generation. That's why Yoda told Luke, we are what they grow beyond. In context, it meant Padawan learners, but more broadly, it means that the previous generation's best hope is to prepare those who follow them to be better. This is the theme on display in Andor right now. Luke gave up on the Force and the Jedi because he gave up on himself, but he was never meant to do it alone, and it was the next generation of Rey, and for a time, Ben, to whom the victory ultimately belongs. And honestly, I share the same sentiments with Kay. I look very skeptically at any source that comes from ABR or CBR, but I give that article a lot of credit. It's well thought out, and it's it's echoing basically what we've been saying for years. And I appreciate it. It doesn't matter when it comes out, if it's late or not. I appreciate the fact that there are some articles about The Last Jedi who are finally seeing the light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and of course, us saying that, it's not saying you should like it or you have to like it or it's objectively the best or anything like that, because art is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an article that doesn't ignore very clear things in the movie. You know what I mean? It's not it doesn't have bad intentions. It's not and it actually is cites actual sources. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. AJ says that might be the best CBR article I've ever read. I haven't read much. Again, it's just like Kay says, like I tend to steer clear of those portals as much as possible, but yeah. It is a well written article, and it's a breath of fresh air. I don't know, man. The Aftermath books taught us when you choose to come to the light. When you choose to come to the light.
When you choose to
come to the light, does matter. I guess it's not too late. Yeah. I don't care if someone likes any of it. I care if someone doesn't like it, but then clearly doesn't get what it's trying to do. Excuse me. Unfortunately, so many people fall into the latter. Well, it's not even the fact that they don't get it per se, because I don't want to accuse people of not understanding it, right? But that does come out when their criticisms of it are espousing facts about the movie that are clearly incorrect. That's when, like, I don't think you understood. You know, when someone says Rey has never flown before, and I'm like, but she says in the movie she's flown before, she's never left the planet. And then they're like, but that doesn't count. And you're just like, well, I don't think you understood her sentence. That's when it's just like, that's when I would say someone doesn't understand it. But I don't really care if people don't like it either. It's just the criticisms, right? They have to be substantive.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I have tons of criticisms of them of my own, especially on The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It irritates the crap out of me when Poe's X-wing springs an electric leak and BB-8 just jams his whole head into it. There's some things that are just weird.
Yeah.
But again, I'm happy certain things are no longer brought up.
There's plenty of criticisms to go around, and I do want to do a video about this sooner rather than later, about why CinemaSins ruined movie critics. And this isn't like professional movie critics at all. This is like fan stuff, right? We know that Jeremy is being entertaining and he's being facetious on purpose, and it's satirical in nature, but sometimes people don't know that distinction, and it has created a whole movement around CinemaSins where you complain about the smallest and the dumbest shit ever, but it's not a real critique, dude. I mean, case in point, Bricks and Screws. We're over that, but I'm just saying that's like a CinemaSin, right? It's a very shallow complaint. It's a nitpick, but it's a CinemaSin. I would count it as a sin. I mean, I just saw a CinemaSin of like the Golden Compass because I'm watching his Dark Materials, and the first sin he says, like, talking animals. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with talking animals, but it's freaking sin, whatever, you know. But it has taught people to think in that way, like the smallest things possible become sins. And I think that mentality, when they are unable to distinguish between satire, which was CinemaSins, and real critiques, it causes them to say some stupid stuff about movies they don't like, you know? It's like, oh, I didn't like The Rise of Skywalker because somehow Palpatine returned. It's like, okay, well, you can say something about that dialogue and the writing of it and the execution of it, but it's whatever.
It's funny because I don't even consider that part to be bad dialogue. Like, that's literally what someone in Poe's position with Poe's knowledge would say.
It's true. We are reaching that point in the episode, though, where we will take your calls and see if anybody wants to talk about something really quickly before we start ramping down and playing Pictionary with the chat, because that is our funnest segment of recent memory. I understand CinemaSins made it more mainstream, but the Patient Zero from poisoning the well of discourse is absolutely Red Letter Media's prequel reviews. I mean, this isn't this isn't like 100% the blame is on them. I'm just saying how, like, you know, it has normalized this standard of thinking where the smallest shit possible in a movie is a valid critique, but it's not.
Or just like not understanding something, or not, you know. I saw someone complaining, that in the Rise of Skywalker, all the ships showed up, but in the Last Jedi they didn't, and so that's a plot hole or something. And you're like,
Oh yeah.
they didn't show up because they needed the inspiration of Luke Skywalker to reignite the rebellion, and that's why you see a little kid inspired, a bunch of kids talking about what Luke did and being inspired. Like, that's literally the whole point. And it's weird when the complaint about something is like literally the point.
Yeah. Also, if you were unaware and you did want to call in, it's pinned. The link is pinned to the chat. And we'll get you into the call to talk about whatever you want. Also, another thing from Golden Compass, they were another sin was them whispering at a volume in which the audience could hear it, but the person that they were whispering about was literally in earshot away. And I was like, yeah, that's called a stage whisper. There are whispers in movies that are intentionally inaudible to the audience because they don't want you to know what they whispered. But if they're whispering in a room, you can clearly, the volume is set where everyone can clearly hear them, but they're stage whispering so that the audience can hear you where they can hear them. So they're all sins. It's just
the best. I think the best possible example of that is like anytime it's nighttime or all the lights are turned off. Why do we see stuff?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously there is light in the room. They are lighting it and then making it dark. A lot of times they even shoot those in the daytime so that you can see the contrast. You can see what's happening. Because if they didn't, you just wouldn't see anything.
Yeah. Pretty much. And sometimes it even like irritates me. Like
remember
when they have the blue filter on beach scenes and you can see the sun clear as day just shining all the brighter, but it's a blue scene and they're acting like it's dusk, and I'm just like, bro, come on. You can see.
What's funny is when they do the
light.
opposite. When the opposite happens, like on
dark.
House of the Dragon, everyone's so mad. It's so dark. Which I mean, the scene was dark. I know.
I mean, listen. I mean, this is why the point of Cinema Sins was to just like make light of and make fun of these small nitpicks, and then we understand that's what Jeremy was doing, and I don't want to make this video to drag Cinema Sins, but it's just making these small nitpicks a mainstay, a standard of thought, instead of analyzing the story and critiquing the story and shot composition and pacing and stuff like that. Nothing is better when they shoot during the day and the shadows are still fully visible when they make it night. Absolutely. Like the beach scenes that I'm talking about, they have a hard light on one side of their face and then the moon's like on the left. It's just, you can see that there's a sunlight on their face.
Now I live 10 minutes from the
squinting.
ocean.
They're squinting.
I live 10 minutes from the ocean. I can assure you guys, when it is nighttime on the beach, you can't see anything.
No, you can't. I mean, you could probably see the highlight of the moon's light along like ripples in the water, but it's not reflecting much light.
Awesome. Yeah. If you have a Ahsoka topic, everyone, call in when you get a chance. I saw Darth Man 86 said, "Give me a second." I don't know if he's working right now, so whenever he pops up, we should bring him in as soon as we can in case he's on a break.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hot D made everything so dark. If they had shot it at night, they would have still illuminated the characters a bit. Instead, the whole scene was flat and dark. I just did not like the grading overall, the color grading of Hot D. Like overall, it was very drab and flat, like you said. In contrast, I was watching something on Apple TV Plus called C with Momoa. The color grading on that show is breathtaking. And I don't know what it is.
I mean, while we're talking about some of this stuff, we didn't do a other fandoms, type section, because we jumped straight into talk about the Ahsoka stuff. But I also am curious on, how you're feeling, what's going on with other fandoms. I will say, we got to see the first episode of Supernatural.
Yeah.
I've never had any desire to watch it, but that first episode was kind of fire. So, we'll be putting that up. I also made Pep watch RRR. It was my first time watching it as well, but I told him not to look up anything about it. And that movie is a banger.
It is. It's one of the best of 2022, and I didn't even think that was in contention when I was going to watch this. Like, I didn't look it up. I saw the title card, and I was like, okay, this is going to be something new for me. But not a thought crossed my mind where I was like, this could possibly be one of the best movies that I've seen. That was far from the possibilities. And then as I continued watching it, I'm like, this is freaking incredible. All right, let's bring in our first caller. His name is...
We're going to put up reactions to both of those, by the way. So.
Yes. Our first caller is this person. Welcome to the show, Dexon.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
Hello.
I am glorious. On a fine night, got the child just to bed, so figured I'd hop on. And I don't know if we talked about this at all, but the main villain, do you guys think, for this Ahsoka thing, is it going to be Thrawn or something else? Like Ahsoka versus an exposition enemy, or like Ahsoka versus a person?
All right, well, let's hold that thought, because we do have Kenny in the wings.
There we go.
Let's see if we can bring him in and find out if he's on break. Otherwise, if he's not on break,
Yes.
and we can talk about stuff, then we'll talk about it. So let's get him in here.
It's a small world. I actually know where this our fan Darth Man works.
Hello, Darth Man.
Hello, everybody.
Are you on break?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about real quick?
I was actually talking to AJ on his TikTok live recently, and we're both on the same page that this could, or at least I am, that this could be probably like a writing towards closer to her end.
Oh, are you suggesting
Like the
that
end of her
Ahsoka's
story.
gonna die?
I am.
Get the hell out of here, dude.
How dare you? No.
I'm just kidding. All right, elaborate really quickly.
So, out of all the characters that Dave Filoni has created, Ventress, Ahsoka, the clones, like the vast majority of them, he's always taken very care on how he's handled their story, how he's handled their end.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to Ahsoka, that is like literally a child. His child. He gave birth to her. So who else better to handle her ending than him?
Yeah, but he has other children too that aren't dead.
Well, I mean, in Kenny's favor, though, if this was the end of her story, then the World Between Worlds could be used as a vehicle to tell, as a look back on her entire lifetime, including things post where we left her off.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. It feels drab. And in that case, to answer Dexon's the question, the enemy, death or old age, or
The oldest foe ever, life itself.
I don't know. I feel like Thrawn has been heavily suggested. I mean, I don't see Thrawn as a villain. I see him as a foil, but you know, that's the natural thing. She's looking for Thrawn, right? She asked for Thrawn in Mandalorian, so natural course of narrative is like she finds Thrawn and something happens. Whether or not he stands to be like the big bad is another story, but for now I'm okay with Thrawn.
Well, I guess the elephant in the room too, if she lives or not, though, is the fact that, like, was it ever said that everyone that Rey heard in that little force thing was dead. Because
It's
like,
how I've always understood when Luke said she will be the last Jedi. It was literally like an actual statement. Like it was almost like he could sense it that she is the last Jedi.
No,
did he
said,
say,
I will not.
Yeah.
I will not be the last Jedi. And I mean, and full disclosure, I mean, Yoda also said that Luke was going to be the last
Ahsoka's not
Jedi.
a Jedi.
Maybe we'll see.
That's the only thing I can think of. That is, yeah, Ahsoka's not a Jedi, so she gets out of that. But my biggest thing was just we heard her voice with the menagerie of other voices that encouraged Rey at the end, and they were all pretty much dead. Or that was like it was the ghosts of Jedi speaking to her. Now I'm not saying it's impossible.
Well, so our reconciliation with that is, or how we rectify that with it is, in the book, in the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, it describes Rey as being in a place between places. Mm-hmm. So that is just semantics for the world between worlds. So it stands to question, we're hearing Mace, we're hearing Aayla Secura, both people who have never trained in maintaining their identity in the Force. Lots of people's voices. Adigalia, I think, was also there. But Kanan, well, yeah, and then none of these people have trained to persist, like Yoda, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan, and Anakin. So it doesn't mean that they are dead, but they are being. She is accessing the conduit with which is the world between worlds.
Yeah, there you go. That's the answer for everybody. She dies and she becomes the warden of the world between worlds, and she just lives there forever.
Honestly, with that logic, that makes sense since we saw Morai in the world between worlds.
Yeah, she becomes this new like essence of balance for the Force, and like is the guardian for the world between worlds. If you mess up, she pops out Heimdall style and just like takes it.
Just slaps you a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Hey, that's not how this is supposed to go. All right.
I mean, and granted, Yoda did talk to Ezra through the world between worlds while he was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is true. We also have another caller in the wings. Let's bring them in here. It's a party now.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello,
What's up?
Hammy. How are you?
Good.
What did you want to talk about?
Actually, I was wanting to jump in on this conversation. It was,
Go for it.
So, I mean, I think just overall, like, we know that Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Mando, and that this whole universe is connected. I'm sure Thrawn will be in Ahsoka. I think that's almost a guarantee. I'm not 100% sure if Ahsoka will have like a person-to-person villain. I think this show, it's also going to focus on Ahsoka, and again, to the wider audience, this is like her introduction, right? Because she's mostly an animated character, and most people haven't seen her stuff. So like this will be an introductory point for a lot of people. So she'll be a vocal point, but I also think a big part of Ahsoka will be introducing Thrawn, because I think Thrawn will be the overarching villain of this time period. I think that's kind of obvious. They've kind of alluded to that, John and Dave. So I think that's what you're kind of going to see with this show. And also, I could definitely see, obviously the rumors you guys talked about. I think we'll probably see a flashback with Hayden, right? Vader, that sort of thing.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
hey, or we get the really emotional scene where he's like, "Hey, I came back to the light," and she's like, "I'm gonna hit you as a Force ghost."
I mean, I think one of our concessions with the rumors is I think it's definitely likely that we see Anakin and Obi-Wan. I think that is something that is within the cards for Ahsoka. She needs that closure. I don't think the last
Seeing their Force ghost, basically.
Yeah, I don't think the last thing she needs from Anakin is murder Vader. So she deserves that much. AJ says,
See, I've been playing this head thing in my head where she talks to Anakin, talks to Obi-Wan, And then she comes to realization where she tells both of them, "I am Jedi, like my masters before me." I thought
That's
that
true.
was like
I
that'd
also
be a
wanna-
cool
yeah.
send off.
I wanted to address that too because Dexon said that she's no longer a Jedi. I mean,
Yeah.
when she's introduced in Mandalorian, Lisbeth says, "Show yourself, Jedi," and she doesn't say anything. So that's just like, you know, point for not a Jedi, point for a Jedi, and then the episode is called The Jedi. So where she is at that point, we'll have to see.
Yeah, but at that moment, if you walk around with lightsabers, you get called a Jedi regardless.
That's true.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the in the camp because of her conversation with Mando about Grogu. She's like, no, I'm not. He shouldn't be trained. He should just stay with you because of his connection to you. And I think that was surprising for a lot of people to hear Ahsoka say, because you're like, you're not a Jedi. But I think after everything that happened, and after she found out that Anakin is Vader, she's probably like, oh shoot, everything they said was true.
Yeah.
um
There's another point too.
oh,
When Mando meets her, he says, "I was told to find to return this child to a Jedi. Like, I was told to find a Jedi," and she doesn't say, "I'm not a Jedi."
just like, keep looking, homie.
Yeah, but she was. Yeah, but then again, the armor was also like, you must go find a Jedi. Like that's the race they are named after.
I mean, yeah.
So the Mandalorians, that's like the Jedi is literally just this fabled enemy. So that is also like a bit more religious almost.
AJ does say introduce the Grisk.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. What I want is Star Wars Avengers. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to find Thrawn. Yes, there's like a
We
minor
got
scuffle
that.
or whatever.
We got that with Cara Dune. We got that with Fennec Shan. We got that with everybody at the end of season 2.
But those were all Mando
That was the
characters
18.
though. Those were all characters from that part of the franchise. I want the Grisks to be brought in as villains for the ascendancy, right off in the corner of space, and then I want Mando and Boba and Ahsoka and the Ghost Crew to be like, listen, this guy was a dick to us in the past, but like his people are suffering. We need to go handle this, and then that would take them out of the equation of like, where were they during all of this stuff with Luke School? Where's Cal? Like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah.
I feel like that could.
All I want is a live action Zeb. That's all I care about. Like we've seen Chopper. I want a live action Zeb.
Here's the
And
question
it has
for
to be
you all.
Carl Urban.
Well, real quickly, Tommy P says, "I'd love to call in and join you all." Tommy P, if you want to join in, the link is pinned in the chat. Just click the link and join in. We'll add you to the call. We'd love to have you. But the question for you all is, Zeb, guy in a suit or CG?
A bit of both.
Claymation.
I would
truthfully
say,
honest.
let's go like Ralph McQuarrie suit level with like really good animatronics, and then and then in after post they just go in with a little CG and harry it up more and do that.
Yeah.
No,
I
exactly the
can
same
totally
Roger
see
Rabbit
them
style.
going kind of a cross between both practical and visual.
No, there it is, the world between worlds. We get actual Zeb from Rebels. 2D.
It's like into
Actually,
the Spider-Verse.
The mix thing is a good solution because I recently did a video on POW from Rogue One. They actually did have an actor inside a suit and an animatronics operator operate the mouth for POW, and it looks really good. So I think we could do Zeb, and I also want to see Choco say the name while on the One Chip Challenge. So I am going to include that.
That's why
Yeah,
I'm
no.
here for this episode. I can't wait to see Choco's face. Like
I saw
you're
them at a
going to
local
be.
Target. I almost got one because I just saw like a pile of them at the local Target. And I was just like, okay, maybe.
We have an entire feature of them, like different flavors, different colors, the whole
it
9
was-
yards at Walmart.
It was so hard for me to find it, and they
The
deleted
Midwest
it.
likes you to suffer.
Yeah, they sent me an email. I was like, it's not gonna. Oh, we're just delaying for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? And then it showed up like 3 days. I don't know. It was just weird.
All right, we have a new caller. The challenge isn't today. I think we're going to record it offline because he needs to do some prep. He needs to have his stuff like ready.
He might have a mental breakdown.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking we'll have it ready to premiere sometime around Christmas. Well, that'll be a Christmas present for everyone in the community.
So happy to unwrap that.
Maybe that's what we'll do. There won't be an episode next week, but we'll have that whole thing air.
Oh, okay.
And you can recover that way too.
Prep that peach. That's what Paul says. Yes, indeed.
The other thing is I have been kind of under the weather and like
It'll open you up,
throwing up a little bit, and I don't want that to come back up. You know, like
Yeah.
I mean,
all your sinuses,
that'll
man.
probably happen anyways. But
we do have a new caller to the show.
Tommy P.
Welcome to the show, Tommy P.
Hello, everybody. I don't
Tommy
know if
P.
you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Awesome.
at
This is
last we meet.
Yeah.
at last, you finally meet me. Hello.
How long
Anyways.
have you been? How long have you been in our chats? And we haven't had you on.
And killing it in trivia and stuff.
Yeah. I think I've been subbed to both Element and Darth Choco for, I'd say, since December of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's longer than Dyad was airing.
Yep.
Yeah. I found Element's video when I was browsing for a review of The Rise of Skywalker that wasn't someone just constantly dogging on the movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you saw that one. I mean, I did kind of clickbait it. It was like a positive review, but still, I had the same like mentality as you. I was like, I'm just tired of people like dragging this thing. Like I did not feel personally aggrieved by the movie. Like I did not feel like it destroyed my childhood, and I thought people were being rambunctious about it. But what did you want to talk about?
I absolutely love Tales of the Jedi, and I could talk for hours about how much I love what they did for Count Dooku and
Well,
what
we have
they
5 minutes.
and what they did for 5 minutes. Okay.
What are you doing? Okay.
Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by Choco's cat. Anyways,
We all are.
what was your favorite part in Tales of the Jedi that featured Dooku?
As the resident Dooku simp here, definitely the battle between him and Yaddle.
That's a good one.
Okay.
This is all-
And it's just because that's my end of the argument of where we finally saw Lord Tyrannus arise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just him and his relationship with Qui-Gon was finally cool to see in an animated form. I really enjoyed that episode. That was, yeah. Really enjoyed that. Jesus.
Yeah.
Things destroying your
you-
backdrop.
Can you not? Please.
Yeah. I also
I definitely loved the Dooku and Mace taking out the guards. I could have watched those two fight side by side for hours.
I'm gonna go against the grain. I think my favorite part with Dooku is him standing at the Uneti tree grieving Qui-Gon.
That was
You know?
beautiful.
Okay, beautiful.
That was a
beautiful.
great moment, yeah.
What's yours?
I really liked the part where he finally confronts the corrupt senator, and then he's the guards can't really do anything to stop him, and then he just uses the Force to make an example out of this guy, and it's like this is where you see why Dooku, despite his good intentions, ultimately winds up joining the Sith, because he believes that the solution to this problem is to intimidate and scare it into submission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you make them listen, like Anakin said to Padme.
Okay, my favorite thing, his opening scene, walking into the room, putting the lightsaber on the table, and it just had Big D energy of just like, all right, what do you want to do? Like, we're resolving this today. You know, how do you want to give the kid back?
Please don't make me pick this back up. I don't want to pick this back up.
Do you remember? It's funny that they did that, because do you remember when Filoni was talking about how the Jedi were peacekeepers and diplomats first, and how they negotiate? He said himself that like a Jedi would approach the table and put out their weapon and said, "This is my weapon. It's out. I'm not hiding anything. Let's negotiate." And that was cool to see Dooku like do that in practice.
Yeah.
It is a cool intimidation factor, but when it comes out of the lines of like Dooku, it's not much of the intimidation of how a Jedi would do it. This seems like something Dooku would do on a constant basis.
Well, and with the Jedi, it's also not even intimidation. I feel like Depa Palaba would be like, "This is my lightsaber. I want you to see it as in like I'm not here to hurt you. My weapon is right there in front of you. I'm here to talk."
Yeah.
I mean, Dooku's voice, just in general, is just threatening.
And he's the only one. Mace doesn't sound like he's a hard ass at all.
Nah. Not at all.
I'm here to negotiate with you, citizen. All right. So, unless you guys have something else you want to talk about for the last 2 minutes, I think it's time for some Pictionary. If you guys have the time to stick around on this call, you're free to do so.
I do want to jump on his before I have to actually head out, because I can't do Pictionary with you guys. I'm so sorry. But
No problem.
what was your guys' favorite part of the Ahsoka arc? Like those 3 episodes?
I would say the fight between her and that cool-looking Inquisitor.
That's up there.
You know what?
Yeah, because to me it's the
music
mask
in that-
on the Inquisitor, because that made me inspired for so much like lore on what I think is going to happen next. Those masks.
No.
Yeah. I also
that
just
was
love
Nihilus.
how
I'm just kidding.
Somewhere
I love how,
Sawyer
like-
just like twitched.
It's
Yeah.
up there. I mean, I think my favorite thing was actually seeing Anakin train her for practically Order 66, and that's essentially what we saw in season 7. She was prepared, because it wasn't drills, it wasn't like, you know, classical forms. It was like, it was almost as if Anakin knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the dad who knows, like, look, life's gonna be tough because you're gonna get beat up a lot, because I send you to places where you're gonna get beat up a lot. So I'm gonna beat you up a little bit now, and you're gonna learn to get beat up, and you're gonna learn to fight back. Well, I'm traumatized forever. Yeah, but you don't get beat up.
Yeah, it's I would probably say the same moment, because of but probably for a different reason. I like the juxtaposition between the Jedi and the way they do things, right? It was very ceremonial. They used the training remote. They've been using that same remote for, you know, at least 300 years. And Anakin is like, this ain't it. You know, like, times have changed. You need something different to help you survive now. And who was it? It was Professor Brain Fever made a video talking about how, was it him? Anyways, someone made a video talking about how without the Clone Wars, Anakin might not have been knighted, but it's like a battlefield promotion type thing where he excels in the war, right? And that's what he was helping her to succeed in. I know, I just kind of connected those two. There's more thoughts.
No,
but it's
I
still
saw that video
nebulous in
too.
there.
It's absolutely amazing video.
I mean, yeah,
Mine-
what if? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Mine, I'm actually going to have to borrow one from Choco, or not Choco, Pep. And mine is actually when Ahsoka was getting almost emotionally attached to the tiger.
Yeah. that's a
Like,
good one.
she just had that full empathy for this creature. And I'm like, that speaks so much about Ahsoka's character, even at that young of age, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful scene.
You see the danger, but she's still like, this is still a creature. Like, well, it's like it's like the TikTok that's going around where there's like that big like lynx cat, and there's like, what kitty? Like, it's not a kitty. Don't pet it.
Yeah, we're all going down like the deep thought end of Ahsoka and like, what happened during that scene, but all Ahsoka cared about was like, this is a funny nose.
This is a kitty.
All right, so the link
But
to
that's
join.
it for me. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, and
Always a
for
pleasure
talking
meeting you guys.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Have a good one, guys.
Take care. Okay, so the link to the Pictionary is in this chat here in this call, and for everyone in chat as well. If you want to join in, them's the link to join the Pictionary game.
Now, as we like to inform everyone, it will be very quick whenever you get to choose what you're going to draw. It's a very short duration, so choose as fast as you can. Otherwise, it might just skip you.
Yeah. Also, we haven't had time to edit this from last time, so there will be thes, and there might be some last names or first names depending. So if it says you're close, try the. Try, particles, try their last names, or try not their last names. But Choco and I will, for future episodes, endeavor to edit it and make it a little bit more friendly for guessing, I guess. I was just trying to put in a lot of different answers in there just to make it fun to draw things. Like Snoke's body. You could make an argument that you could draw that. But it's okay. All right, we got Choco, Hammy, Tommy P, DePaul, Daxon. We'll give everybody a couple more minutes to join in here. Does anybody else have any other topics they wanted to quickly fire off? Any lightning round questions?
Okay, just to answer my own thing, I honestly don't think Thrawn's going to show up at all till the very end, and the enemy we're going to see is more or less just going to be like a self enemy, maybe like an improvement. Maybe it's going to be like a lot of character stuff. And then I believe Ahsoka season 2 is when we're going to get into more of Ahsoka versus a thing or a entity or a person like the Empire Remnant and Thrawn.
Do you think the fan base at large would respond positively to the antagonist being her emotional state or growth or something like that?
If the writing is good enough, I don't think it matters, because Andor showed them that you can just let the script work for it and people will accept it. But yeah, you got to just hit it out of the park. You got to be willing to dive headstrong into this is some development. And that could be the thing where we need to see all these flashbacks or this visiting herself through the past, because it's no, we're facing all of your demons and you're going to come out of this the most pure entity in the Force if you're going to start using anything in this world between your worlds, because the Force can't trust you if you're not purified.
Yeah. Okay.
Who did we lose? Yeah. DePaul. You can't close the window, DePaul.
I trust Dave enough, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So whatever he does, he kills it with Ahsoka. So
yeah, or they give us an Inquisitor that she fights for 6 episodes and then Thrawn shows up.
I mean, I also think there's a possibility. I haven't heard a lot of people say this, but Ezra's been with Thrawn for a long time now, about a decade. There's a possibility he could be evil himself. We don't know a lot, so. I mean, he's had those tendencies.
Oh, dude, Dark Side Ezra. Let's go.
It's something I've been saying for a while. Not to say that he'd be evil, but the way Thrawn affected how Eli Vanto does things and made him more logical and more, cunning and more intelligent. After 10 years with Thrawn, Ezra's going to have some of those.
We lost Hammy. Oh, by the way, for future reference and for now, it'll ask you are you still there?
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Thank you.
Let's see. AJ says, I don't want a Law for Life Day, but there's just one thing I need, and that's the one chip. We'll get it to you. For the lack of the Dyad episode next week for the holidays, we'll get you a one chip challenge with Choco, and we're going to make him say,
You know, if you keep doing that in the mirror 5 times, I think the Candyman shows up.
I would be terrified if Pow showed up.
Yeah, that's even scarier. Because he'll be way more upset with you.
All right, we got Hemi back, we got Jackson, we got Tommy P. I think we're just going to start with these folks.
Yep,
And
we can
let's
start
do
it.
it. Remember,
People can join mid-game, by the way.
they can,
so
yes.
feel free to hop in.
As Choco said, when it presents you with the 2 choices, pick quickly. It doesn't matter. You might see something that's really like hard to draw, but just pick it and look up a reference. It'll take your turn away if you don't pick quickly. I think you have like 3 seconds, which is bad,
very
but
short.
still. Let's go. Oh no, how am I gonna do this?
I love you. Now go away. Oh man, I don't know what that thing's called.
Whose horse is that?
Oh, I don't remember that name. No, I'm horrible with names.
Oh, that's what it is.
I hope I did the hair justice.
I mean, I get it now. I just can't spell or remember names to save my life.
But that's
Okay,
what that
I'm
is.
pretty sure what I'm spelling, I'm spelling it correctly, and it keeps saying I'm close.
Put a "the" in front of it.
How are you spelling it? Is the question.
There it is.
Oh,
Okay.
he got it. He got it.
Ah,
Man.
I got no idea. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Tommy
Is
got
that
it. Yep.
supposed to be Jana?
It's supposed to be yes.
Or Bach.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay.
AJ said Jana. No, it was supposed to be the what she was writing. I forgot to draw the arrow.
Yes, Hydras.
What do we got, Choco? What do we got? We got a square.
Ooh.
A credit chip? Oh, okay.
I
I mean, I feel
It's
like
accurate. No, you know what the worst part is? Yeah, that's accurate.
This is true. Think about Rebels.
I honestly think the one in
Wait.
Luthen's shop was like a remake for High Society because it was so fancy looking.
You're on the right track there.
Dude, are you
yeah.
serious?
How do you spell it?
Are you serious right now?
If everyone puts in, I mean, there's not a lot of time, but if you put in a facsimile of the spelling, I can spell it for you. It just so I know you guys get it, but not a lot of time. It's a category. AJ got it right in the chat. Congratulations, AJ.
Bro. You,
AJ, why don't you join the game? You can.
you gotta go, cat.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I'm not a very good drawer.
Oh no!
That's the best
Oh
part.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
you gotta, yeah.
That's what we meant with you have
Selection
to
is quick.
Select quick.
No, I gotta be quick.
Oh, here we go.
And you can't say you're not a good drawer. Have you seen what I draw?
Did you see my Orbach?
Yours looks good.
This is gonna be so bad.
Is that Doc
Oh.
Brown?
That's Broly. There's no way.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
There's no way you got that.
I did.
What the hell did you get?
I don't know, some type of Von Doom crab monster. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, really?
No, it's supposed to be this color. This color.
Okay, it is. Jeez. That was a
There we
huge
go.
hint, Choco.
Yeah.
Sorry.
AJ said, "My boy."
Oh my god.
I saw that option. I was like, ooh.
All right, let's go, Hammy.
What? I don't even know either one of these.
That's the best
Gotta
part.
look it up now.
Click it and look it up. Yeah.
Or just let us know what
There's
you
no
picked.
way.
I'm just kidding.
Wait. Okay, there's no way you guys are gonna get this.
I'm gonna get. Now I have to.
You never know. Pez.
Here we go. This is gonna be so difficult.
Oh,
Here we go.
AJ, that's a good answer.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Just look at this. Think of this. Think of this, and then
4.
Okay, let's see here.
I don't know what else. I literally do not know what else to draw. If I'm being honest.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, you guys are like close with the character.
You could put when the meter's on yellow. Also, you can press the hint button to give us a hint.
Oh, okay, got it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. What was it?
It was a Taru. It was Form 4 Taru.
Form 4. Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
Dang,
yeah.
That's good. That is good.
I had to catch up on the
Jeez, how do
lightsaber
I-
forms.
Nope. I spell it wrong?
It's the meme version. I'm sorry. I'm sorry the answer is
The meme version. Okay. What would Shaylo say?
I'll give you guys hints.
What? What?
What would Shaylo Ren say? Yeah, it's a meme thing. I'm sorry.
You got 2 letters in there. I gave you 2 letters.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, now let's see how
Oh
I
my
did
God.
With,
I
Wheel of Fortune, my milkshakes. No, dang it.
This also points to like the time that this was made as well.
yeah.
This is
AJ, man, what AJ said in the chat. He said, I wrote as a joke and it said close. I was so confused at first.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Max.
I'm sorry.
You didn't
my
even
goodness.
draw the Rabusi.
I was not about to. What do we got, Choco?
Do like a sneaky
Oh,
arrow
damn
under
it.
the keyboard.
Oh, snap.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh.
Finally.
What?
It's,
Huh?
Yeah. Oh. The other one.
Oh, jeez. Just literally go through the line.
Listen, I gave her beautiful hair. I think that's all.
I'm so sorry, Yaddle. I love you
Alright,
so much.
Tommy,
I did
pick
not
quick.
mean the other one. You.
Pick quick.
Uh,
I didn't know either of those two.
oh, what were
Just-
what were the choices?
000 and
No.
something else. I kind of know who 000 is, but
Yeah.
I don't know who. I did not know who the other one was.
Mm.
Let's see here. We got. Oh, I spelled it all kinds of wrong.
This is my type of drawing right here. Stick figures. I love it.
Oh, not that. Okay.
Oh. Okay, I guess not. Wait, is it? Dang.
Who?
Oh,
Is it Jedi Knight? Like, do we gotta put that in front of it?
Who?
Who?
Which?
Which? Where? From? Yeah, the Battle of Heroes. That's what.
Mustafar's wrong.
It's an E there, but
No.
Obi-Wan.
What was
Dang.
it, AJ? It was I'm an idiot.
Okay, I hope this is who I think it's supposed to be, but let's find out if I can draw this. Oh, this is gonna be a horrible mess.
Obi Annie.
it-
Oh jeez.
Oh my god, this looks so bad. This looks so bad.
it's
Ah!
Batmite, right?
I mean,
Mace Windu.
Is that Conan's sword? Is that the Rod of Ages?
nope. I can't. Let's get one of those.
Huh? 4 letters.
See, what else can I draw for this, dude? I do not know how to.
AJ puts
Oops.
notes instead.
Yeah.
Sword. What's going
Stab.
on?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Okay, everyone's just like, is that stab? Oh my gosh.
Okay.
It's like a dagger, eyes.
As soon as I saw the eyes, I was like, "Those are eyes I have seen."
When I just saw
before."
Ochi, I'm like, of festoon, I hope, because if not, I'm gonna mess this up.
Right.
Okay.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
This is the fun of it.
Okay. You know,
How
it's
the
always
hell did you
that
guys get
last
something?
that last denomination is always hard for me to tell which.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
It looks-
Teletubby, that's a good guess.
but it looks adorable. Like I want to hug it.
It does,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it looks like a toddler that going up.
Okay,
What
what
the
else
hell
can I
is
try?
this thing?
What else can I draw here? Alright.
His buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
No
The
way.
colors alone. The colors alone.
Okay. AJ, it's the other one.
I can't remember if it's a O or a 0 at the end.
Yeah, I never know.
Oh.
That's why I just put it in all caps so you can't tell.
Yeah. Oh no! I know the name. I know. Okay, now I definitely know it. Dang it.
Like,
Oh. Oh.
Dang, that's pretty good.
It is truly only the goodest boy.
It's very good. I like that.
Without the lightsaber though, it looks like he's like looking hard because that's like his rap
Oh,
album
yeah.
cover. You know, like
You see my pecs?
Yeah.
Savage would do that. He'd be like, "Hold on, let me just get my stretch real quick."
AJ used caps and it didn't like that. I mean, the answer was Savage Press, not Savage Press.
Or as that one bounty hunter would say, this savage oppress.
Oh man,
I'm currently watching the
I wish,
Clone Wars right now.
we need Luthen to meet Savage for some reason. Savage Press. Just say it. Just say it.
Is that,
What we got here?
is
What
that
we got here?
a cheese wedge?
Ooh.
Oh,
Great.
Ayo.
Ping, 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 ping.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, it has legs? When did they grow legs?
when Salvador Dali started designing them.
I'm down for that painting. Oh, that'd be so cool. All right, I need to find one of those AI things and plug that in.
all right, Tommy, choose.
Pick fast. Even if you don't
Okay.
know it, you can look it up.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what I can do here.
There's more. We got.
Okay, there's my mouse. This is not very good.
Hey, this is the point of mouse art. Nice. At. Whoa! Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I've guessed it, it does look like
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Dang it all.
Damn you alls to hell.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I tried to put in the two twin sons from Tatooine.
Nice,
Should have thought
yeah.
on the nose. Should have thought on the nose.
Yeah.
Let's go, AJ.
I tried to draw Obi-Wan on there too, but I didn't know how to draw him, so.
Someone's getting ready to shave.
No, I thought someone was playing Taboo. And they said the wrong word.
Oh.
Spooter, man.
Oh, wait. Yes! That's a good drawing. That's a good drawing.
Is that
Oh,
not an
hold on.
aerial
What is this? What is this
shot
dude's-
of salad fingers?
What is this dude's name? What is his name?
Oh!
Oh, man.
Oh my god, the perspective shift in my brain just...
It's
Do-
the missing
do
neck.
now-
It's the missing neck.
Do you understand the perspective I was seeing? It looked like the camera was above and they were looking up, and then it turned into a collar. I don't.
I'm so horrible with names, and I hate it. Like I'm like I know who it is, but I think we can assume that it's that one guy.
Oh,
Was it the chick who always stands next to Palpatine?
Yes, that's Slymore,
Slymore,
aka the Baron.
All right. Well, that's the episode. Thank you guys so much for calling in and being a part of our 2-year episode. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us in the chat. Hope you guys had fun. I guess we'll outro with everybody if you have anything to plug. We'll start with Tommy P. I don't know if do you create content?
I do not. I just like to comment on people who do.
Right on. That's valid.
And we appreciate it.
And we absolutely appreciate your support and you always being here and finally coming on. What about you, Hammy? Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, you can check me out on TikTok at Hammy Demand. And you can also check me out on YouTube, my podcast at the Wars of the Stars podcast. Yeah.
Awesome. Unfortunately for Dexon, we're out of time. I'm just kidding. What do you have anything?
Yeah, Dexon download on YouTube and TikTok. Mostly kind of gearing towards YouTube right now and doing Let's Plays of the Fallen Order to get ready for Survivor. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to move though too. So I'll have a little bit of less content these next 2 weeks. I'll be moving right after Christmas. So I'll have a new setup. It'll look way better. I'm excited.
Now, because I thought that looked like salad fingers, I was like, you know what? I need to refresh my memory of what he looks like. And the thing that popped up was a mashup of salad fingers as Jessica Rabbit, and it's so cursed. And it's.
I must suffer with you. Hold on.
What happens in Google Images stays in Google Images.
It's just awful. I'll send it to you.
Chalky, you got anything to plug?
Dope.
I will be coming up soon here. I will be doing a bunch of streams on Stream Lounge. So if you guys ever want to watch something with me, we're gonna be gearing up because we got more Star Wars that's gonna be coming out. They also just added Crunchyroll and Hulu, so we're gonna be jumping into some anime and stuff on there because there's a lot I need to catch up with. So there will be more information on that to come. But we can all, rather than watching our faces, just watch something. You can also watch the actual thing with us using Stream Lounge. So
absolutely,
that's coming soon.
So stay tuned for that because we're also about to release our first watch of Supernatural and our first watch of RRR. And for next week, since we are not doing a Dyad episode for Christmas, we will be releasing Darth Choco's One Chip Challenge. So stay tuned for that on Christmas Day. That's a nifty little present for you guys to open up. Unfortunately, at the expense of Choco. Let's see.
The pleasure of Choco.
Upcoming releases also, Battle for Jeddah is January 2nd. And that will be in book form February 24th, I believe. And I believe that's it. But thank you guys so much for calling in. I enjoy thoroughly having this segment. It's just because it's just easier to gather guests. And I don't have to reach out. So thank you for calling in. Thank you for being a part of the episode. Thanks for everyone in the chat who tuned in. But unless there's anything else, Choco, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We're all the Republic.
And may the Force be with you always.